Good morning. It is indeed a pleasure to be able to deliver a keynote at the Second International General Studies Conference. Today, I will talk about promoting sustainability, sustainable development through global citizenship and appreciation of cultural diversity. I am a Chinese by birth, a Malaysian by nationality, and an Earthling by global citizenship. Today, we will think about what it means to be a global citizen and how that relates to sustainable development. We have many identities: gender, occupation, geographic regions, religion, age. Are we a baby boomer, a Gen X, Gen Y, or Gen Z? I will first talk about cultural diversity and the appreciation of it, then global citizenship, and finally, how both of those relate to promoting sustainable development. One aspect of cultural diversity is language. I choose to talk about language because I have been researching language for the past 3 decades. Sabah has almost 30 indigenous languages, and Sarawak no less. In fact, on 15 February 2022, 12 more languages or 12 more groups were added to the indigenous languages in Sarawak. Let me ask you a question. Do you believe that children should learn only one language? Are you thinking that, yes, they will become confused if they speak too many languages? If you do, you believe in the subtractive view of multilingualism. You believe that when proficiency or use of one language increases, it causes a drop in the proficiency of use of another language. My studies on language use, language choice, and identity in the past 3 decades, plus those of other researchers, shows that it is the addictive multilingualism that prevails. What does addictive multilingualism mean? It means that when a person learns a language or languages in addition to his or her home language, it is not at the expense of the first language. Do you believe that if our proficiency or use of English increases, we lose skills and fluency in Bahasa Melayu? Rest assured that Malaysians have enormous capability to learn languages and have the pragmatic competence to know when to use each language according to the context. To me, when people cannot speak or write or use languages well, it is due to the lack of exposure, informal plus the formal exposure to the language, rather than learning or speaking too many languages. I have a different way of looking at code switching. People may see code switching as poor mastery of a language, which is why you need to use another language, or the assertion of some identities. We see that in United Nations meetings, sometimes the world leaders insist on speaking their national language, even though they can speak English, or the prestige associated with certain languages. To me, code switching is a way for Malaysians to show respect for the other person by using a language that is comfortable to the other person. This is the unique accommodative spirit of Malaysians. So code switching is a way to show respect. And I focus on respect because you will see that coming up later. Cultural diversity, the uniqueness of who we are, is it at odds with global citizenship? You think about this as I go on. This is the full spectrum of what it means by culture. I only focus on language just now. It includes customs, rituals, behaviors, religion, food, art, attitudes, and beliefs. We all have come from different cultural backgrounds, and global citizenship means that we need to be able to tune in to the cultures of other groups outside of our country. It also means that we need to have this deep understanding and appreciation of different cultures, beliefs, values, and traditions. Then you ask me, if I've never been to those countries, if I never come into contact with different groups of people, how can I have a deep appreciation of them and their life? Well, we now live in a seamless and interconnected world. The internet and the social media puts us in touch with people all over the world. People participate in esports. People enjoy fusion food. And at the fingertips, we do banking. We have faster air travel. We can order things from all around the world. And they reach us in so much shorter time than ever before. I remember my grandmother telling me when she moved from China to Sarawak, she was on a boat for 3 months, and people even died in that long journey, and lots of people were vomiting on the journey, and they were very pleased when it finally ended. Now, in a blink of an eye, we can be in another country, whether physically or virtually online. So I think global citizenship is possible. I would now like to talk about the connection between cultural diversity and global citizenship. Very often, when we talk about cultural diversity, we are looking at the behavior, the top layer that we can see. We see the language, we see the different kinds of food, we see the different dress, and so on. But underneath it are our attitudes, our values, and the beliefs which influence our behavior. So my focus today is not on the behavior part of the cultural diversity. I'm not talking about the variety of the food we eat, the variety of the ethnic groups as in the appearances that we see. I am looking into the levels that are hidden within us. So diversity is about cultures, values, and ethnicities. Most of the time, we go back to ethnicities, although diversity could be about other identities. Yes, diversity exists, or at least should exist, in the workplace, at school, and on the playground, in our neighborhood, everywhere. Diversity is about acceptance of individuals as unique beings. That is the beginning. It is also about giving other communities the same consideration that we give to our own. I know this is perhaps hard to do, but there is always a starting point. Diversity is about appreciating differences with the same warmth as you appreciate similarities. We like to associate with people similar to us, and when people are different, it needs a bit of adjustment. Diversity is about learning to unlearn assumptions and even beliefs. We all carry stereotypes about other groups. Sometimes we need to unlearn them before we can start respecting them. And most importantly, diversity is about respect. Respecting diversity is about understanding and appreciating that many religions, communities, ethnicities, and other groups exist in this world and all deserve to be treated with equality. So, global citizens respect other groups beyond our country borders. Let me pose a question to you. Who are likely candidates as global citizens of all these age groups? Make a guess. It is Generation Z. They have a highly inclusive worldview. The baby boomers started by becoming aware of racial discrimination because before that, they were interacting within their own groups and did not realize that there are other groups around them. So they started having this awareness and it goes on. And the current young people with us now have a very highly inclusive worldview and they're very connected to other people in the world. So now we are ready to talk about promoting sustainable development through global citizenship and appreciation of cultural diversity. Whenever we talk about sustainable development, I think of the SDG goals. And in my research, I often talk about SDG 3, good health and well-being, or SDG 4, quality education. And when we talk about the broader concept of sustainability, we are more familiar with environmental sustainability, flooding, renewable energies, plastics and what it does to the environment, and so on. But sustainability is more than environmental sustainability. When we talk about sustainability, we are talking about a development model that can meet the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their own. I'm sure you have seen this expression here. We borrow the earth from our grandchildren, so we cannot harm the earth now because it will make the earth a bad place for our grandchildren and great grandchildren to live on. So, sustainability is not only about environment, it's a holistic approach that considers the social, environmental, and economic impacts of our actions on the earth and our life here. I will talk about social sustainability. But why is there a need to? Well, apparently we have made good gains in social development, sustainability development goals, but there are certain threats that prevent the continued progress. I'm sure you can see rising inequality. You can see erosion of trust within societies happening, and you see more conflicts happening. So there is a risk of exclusion of certain groups from services, access to markets, and participation in various areas of life. What is the goal of social sustainability? It's about promoting social equity, human rights, access to education and healthcare, and decent work. In short, it is to have an inclusive society and long-term well-being for people. How? Promoting social sustainability starts with embracing cultural differences with the warmth that we treat our own. We develop cross-cultural communication skills in the process. We have adaptability skills and respect for others. And this cultural awareness allows us to forge meaningful connections with individuals from different backgrounds. A lot of us here are in education. We are in contact with students every day. So to nurture global citizenship, we start them young. We need to, for example, promote cultural exchange programs for students, or that exchange in an informal way is also fine. Facilitate, if we are in the power position to do so or not, we ourselves engage in international collaboration through research and community work. There are many international grants, and I have been trying to apply for them unsuccessfully. One of the conditions of international grants is that we must have a member from another country, maybe the host country of the funder. And to me, this is a way to foster international collaboration because as we work together, we get to know one another as individuals and as members of their cultural communities. And in the end, we develop a worldview that is more encompassing. We are able to see ourselves, our country from a wider perspective. That is what it means to be a global citizen in the end. Now, let me share with you two studies that I have done that are connected to global awareness, being global citizens. One is on study exchange program involving 69 UNIMA students, and how many of our students in this study have joined student exchange? Not many. 78% of them had never. Have they interacted with international students in UNIMAS? 100% no. We have some international students, but they are mostly master's and PhD students and don't come into contact with the undergraduate students. Do they want to go on student exchange programs? 60%, yes. Are they going? You look at the blue color here. Not really going because it's too costly for them. Are they afraid that it will cause delay to the graduation? Like the universities want GOT, graduation on time. Well, for the students, it's a mixed view. The mean is about 3. They recognize the benefits of student exchange programs. They recognize that it gives them valuable exposure to another culture by being there in another country for a short time. And they know that it develops their communication skills and helps them to have new ways of thinking about their home country. Of course, they also recognize that it's good for their career and studies besides having a holiday. So based on my small study, student believes that student exchange programs bring positive benefits to their studies, career, as well as intercultural exposure. It's just that perhaps costs stand in the way and they lack the opportunity. Maybe there are not enough student exchange programs being organized. My next study is about intercultural awareness involving 73 students, and there is a spread of ethnic background among the students. Do they have that cultural awareness of other groups? I approach it from their contact with people. How many family members are from other ethnic groups? About 3. So there's a lot of intermarriage in Malaysia. How many friends are from other countries? 2 to about 3. How many countries have they visited? 1 to 2. So the students have acceptable exposure to other groups besides their own. How do they feel about intercultural awareness? Well, they do respect the views and the values of people from other cultures. They are positive when interacting with them, and they like to attend events or obtain information about them. Well, for this group, they do show high intercultural awareness, maybe from the social media interactions, maybe from physically being with people from other cultures. This is looking at things from a different way. The study shows that the students have openness in views, sensitivity to cultural differences and meanings, and feel somewhat at ease interacting with people from other cultures. So there is positive intercultural awareness. Let me conclude my talk now. Intercultural exposure to people from other countries, whether through visits or social media contact, is crucial for us to become global citizens. It entails having the knowledge, the skills, and the mindset that respect other cultures. And we will ultimately shape a more inclusive and harmonious life for all, one friend at a time.